Welcome everyone to a casted game of Age of Empires 4, and today's spawning southwest corner of the map, playing in blue. We got louemt playing as the Rus, and his opponent in the northeast playing in red. We got puppypaw playing as the Jeanne d'Arc faction. Welcome everyone to the map Gorge, a great map in Age of Empires 4 featuring two great civilizations. In many ways heralded as some of the best civilizations in Age of Empires 4 right now. I'm pretty excited to see how they go up toe-to-toe against each other. Holy moly, that's a lot of sheep. Speaking about going toe-to-toe, well, those scouts really bumped into each other nearly. Scouting patterns makes it a little bit awkward, and it does look like puppypaw got the rub of the green there, getting a lot more sheep than Louis. Now, both civilizations pretty hungry on food, by the way. Of course, they both have access to the knights in the feudal age. I wonder if we're going to be seeing a knight battle. It could happen. Having said that, the Rus typically do like going for a second town centre. They've got such a strong economy. Factor in the bounty that they get on the map. It can be an incredibly strong way to play the Rus here. On Gorge, especially when you want to protect key resources. Such as this forward gold. It's a bit of an awkward spot. I mean, this is a crazy second town centre spot as well, though. There's boar, there's deer, gold, and there's wood. But it is far out, right? So you have to be very careful of venturing that far out for a second town centre. I mean, we're drawing some conclusions. There might not even be that. It might even be just a crazy one town centre for both players. Either way, we do see Jeanne gathering a lot of food, starting a journey of a hero. And we're interested to see if she becomes a hunter or a woman-at-arms. I think this sort of battle, it tends to be a woman-at-arms. It's certainly one of the more favourable options amongst the pros recently. You can see that contestation for the hunt. They're both going at it, trying to deny as much as possible. Two more deer, two more deer. Who's going to get it? Who's going to get it? Who's going to blink first? Ah, it looks like they both got one each there. I'm not entirely sure. We don't see the little gold trickle in, I'm afraid, on the overlay, which kind of sucks. But it's going to be the School of Cavalry being built by Jeanne. She's going to get to that level 2 pretty quickly, bearing in mind the build. And it's going to be the Kremlin for the Rus. A very strong landmark. When you factor in the Kremlin gremlins, I think it's actually a big part of the reason why they get away with two town centre play. They can protect themselves very, very easily. Going to be building up with 5 villagers to get their quick time. And it's now starting to mine that gold. Now, on the back of this, they're going to see an early night for the Jeanne d'Arc, I would have thought. Sometimes you can see a bit more of a greedy play with the straight two town centres. Going to go for an early wheelbarrow telegraphed by the mill. Both scouts still roaming around the map. Surprisingly enough, there's still a couple of sheep there for the taking. Going to get that one. There's still one left there, though. Both players not spotting it. Now, with plenty of villagers on wood, and not going for a lumber camp. Oh, there it is. There's the lumber camp. Interesting enough, looking to get the Kremlin on the front there just to protect the golden stone. It's a very big pressure point here on map Gorge, because of course you've got a very direct access point to your opponent. Right into the middle of the map, and with the mobility that's going to be there with the knights, it can be very precarious. But with the Kremlin already built, the feudal age already on the way in action, louemt actually going to commit to another scout, which is rather surprising. He's got 2 already. I'm curious to see why. Is he going to go for survival techniques, maybe? Yeah, he is. He is actually going to go for professional scouts, rather. And that's kind of crazy. He's going to get a lot of the hunt on the map, and I don't hate it. We don't see it all that often, but it is a very strong technology. When you factor in there's so much food on the map to gather, not only is he going to be able to get his own hunt, but he's also going to get the hunt that's on the field, especially if he takes this. That'll deny a lot of food there for Jeanne. He's getting the scouts in spots as well, getting it prepared and ready. And it's going to go for a second town centre behind that. That's going to be a strong economy for the Rus. Oh, it's going a bit too close for comfort, but luckily for him, luckily for puppypaw, no villagers to garrison aside to kill him. He's going to be going for a second town centre himself, puppypaw. So it's going to be 2 town centres versus each other. Does mean that the game is going to be pretty slow to start. But I tell you what, games like this, the one thing I love about Age of Empires 4 is sometimes, yeah, sure, there's not that crazy aggression in the feudal age that you like to see sometimes, but what that means is that both players will be scaling their economy. That will be translating to military very quickly in sort of the 15-20 minute mark of the game, where things will get really, really, really aggressive. She sheathes their sword once again and just you know, casually takes out the boar. A good +10 versus huntable animals. Makes it incredibly strong on the map. There's that Royal Knight, looking to get value as much as he possibly can, but, you know, with the Kremlin there, Golden Stones are going to be protected. Wood relatively protected considering the town centre position. And we're going to go for a second town centre. Question is where? Where does he put it here, puppypaw? He's a bit more wood. We get there pretty soon, though. I was going to try and deny the hunt being picked in. Puppypaw is aware of the situation, and that's going to chase the scouts down. The second town centre there for Puppypaw, going on the boar, the gold, and the berries. Relatively exposed, but it's going to be known. It's going to be known that obviously the Roos are going for a second town centre themselves, so he'll be quite happy with that position, really. Puppypaw not really going to expecting too much damage to come in too quickly, considering the obviously scaling of the second economy for the Roos as well, the second town centre. Might just escape with one of those deer carcasses in the end. Oh, Knight goes onto the wood line. Now, we did say that it's close to the town centre, but might still get value. It didn't actually commit to that second strike on the villager to kill it in the end. It does now drop a barracks. Had his warning here, Louis. And he's heeding that warning. He's getting the deer carcasses in the south. See Puppypaw just making sure his opponent doesn't just snag these ones. He's not keen on that happening. Both players very even in terms of villager count. As you'd expect, both players having the second town centre. Going to be diving in, look to pick up one of the weak villagers. There it is. Oh, the knight might just be taken out there. Oh, that was costly. Didn't get the value he wanted. That's going to be great for Louis. Might even look to try and snag some of the deer carcasses here, although there are spearmen now on the field. Makes it a little more difficult. Trying to wall up the deer carcasses here. Very intent on not letting those go to waste and in the hands of Louis. Jeanne does now move to the boar in the south, which she might actually get that XP in the end. Starting that farming transition, which is not ideal, but you know, the good thing for the Roos is they do have a strong wood economy. Of course, getting the extra 20% dropped off. Very, very powerful eco boost, especially when you factor in double broadaxes in as well, which adds in another 15%. Trying to deny another deer carcass, but won't be able to. Now, I think at this point we're probably going to have to talk about actually the map spawn and the generation. 3 relics in the middle of the map, midline is pretty even. I got to say, Gorges actually have, they do have a really nice spawn at times. I think it's pretty fair. What you do find though is the secondary and the tertiary kind of gold veins, usually in one corner. In today's map for Puppypaw, it's in the north. For Louis, it's in the south. That's one of the things I love about Gorge, by the way, because of course you got the mid map, like the middle of it, very strong access point, very direct access point. But you've also got the pressure points in the north where the key resources are, and the pressure point in the south, again, for the same reason, the key resources are there. Uses Divine Restoration, but she's got to be careful. Jeanne might lose her life. There aren't really that much army here to support, and it's one early night. Although I say that, French Royal Knight comes in play, and the Roos are going to have to back away from that. Jeanne, she lives to fight another day. Looks like louemt looking to really play a condensed economy, not messing around, not letting the Jeanne d'Arc get those knights around to pick off villagers. He's done a great job of that. Hasn't lost a single villager just yet. And Puppypaw looking to start walling up. Not that it's a necessary consideration at the moment, but it's obviously quite intent on getting the walls ahead of the the trade post in front of it, just in case trade becomes an issue in the late game. It always can do. That's quite a decent army here now. 3 Royal Knights with Jeanne and 2 Spearmen. Taking the engagement. A couple of Spearmen there for Louis. They didn't get the brace in the end. Uses the Holy Wrath ability, Jeanne. Gets a lot of HP off those Spearmen. Taking the fight, but a lot of Knights will go down. I don't think this is optimal for Jeanne. I mean, she might survive, but the Knights won't. Uses another Holy Wrath ability. Jeanne goes down as well, and those Knights do too, and that's a bad fight for puppypaw. Loses all but one, and has to back away. Jeanne does return to the battlefield almost instantaneously. That's a great opening there for Louis. Looking to go to the castle age behind this, and that gives puppypaw a bit of a problem, right? Now, puppypaw actually has 2 options here. Can go for the castle age himself, look to try and challenge those relics at the same sort of time, or he might look to play an extended feudal age, which is, by all means, it's something that Jeanne does really well, as do the French, and as do the Rus, to be fair. And that's something Louis has to be careful about, right? Because if he does commit to that castle age, will it be too early? Will it be too greedy for tech up? Will he be made to be punished by puppypaw? Well, heading down to the south now, and you can see the pressure point. We talked about this again in Gorge. How the south for Louis is something he needs to protect, and the north is something that puppypaw needs to protect. And he's doing just that with his walling. You can see very intently, walling up that north side first, and pressuring in the south. It does mean that Louis, whilst he's playing condensed economy, giving a lot of map control, giving that ability to be pressurized really in the south, obviously going to the castle age, which will give him a good strong tech up that may help him bounce back and push back. But he's got to make sure that he makes that gold count, because he's only got how much he's got left? About 2,000 to be fair. It's not a bad amount, but once that runs out, he's going to be in trouble. Kremlin Gremlins do back out. They're going to be trying to get as much value as they can. And this is a really interesting dynamic of the game so far. Not a lot has happened technically, but a lot of strategy points have happened. And this area in the south for Louis has to get control of it again, because one thing is going to the castle age, but it's kind of useless if you don't have the gold to scale those units. And you can see, look at that, the intention there, clear and obvious, to get those palisades walls up, and he has to protect those villagers doing it though. But if he does get the palisade walls up, then the game plan is working, and it will be game on. High trade house going at the back of the base. Going to be getting a decent amount of gold bounty from that. But it is a very nice sustainable source of food as well with the deer spawning. But he's got to make sure to get the palisade walls up. And puppypaw possibly doesn't have the unit numbers he'd want behind that. He's going to go to the castle age himself with the guild hall. A very commonly chosen landmark now for the French and the Jeanne d'Arc alike. Oh, the villagers are caught. There's no army here. He's going to lose a lot of villagers, Louis. He's been caught out. And that almost... I mean, he has to back away, right? There's always a temptation to continue building that, but that's 4 Royal Knights. Oh, that's a good drag back. Although, yeah, they have to back away. Can't really build that. Knight's going to head in now, delaying that tech up. I mean, not too disastrous. Didn't lose any villagers ultimately, so it's okay, but it does delay that tech up, right? And that's something that puppypaw would be very happy about. As I say that, it does lose probably 2 villagers now. Chivalry is in play as well, so as long as the Knights survive, they'll back away. That's a big question though. It does get the body blocking in. I think the Knights will back away from there. Now the castle age is in play for puppypaw. I wouldn't be surprised for both players just to immediately try and drop some monasteries to try and get those relics. Now the warrior monks for the Rus will have the upper hand in that regard with the better movement speed. He does have the wood for it as well. And there it is. Going to be building that as soon as possible. Going to be rushing it down with 5 villagers. This is where the map becomes interesting. This is where the match becomes interesting, where both players are now starting to perhaps focus on the mid-map objectives, which are those relics, which are those sacred sites. Bear in mind, Jeanne can cap the sacred sites herself. Wait, no, don't go. Capture it. She got impatient. Now, in terms of relics, by the way, puppypaw with the walling does secure at least 2 of them, which is actually incredibly strong. There's 2 here for louemt, rather. It should get. There's one in the middle that, again, puppypaw is securing a lot just with military. Jeanne, stop it! Go back. She keeps capturing it and backing away. It's a control group issue, really. There for puppypaw. In any case, for Louis, it was so important, so imperative that he secured this gold vein in the south. 2 of them. Knight's going to take out a couple of spearmen, a couple of stray knights there for puppypaw. And you can see puppypaw trying to be aggressive in the southern area, right? He wants to pressurize him. That's a lot of archery ranges there for Louis. Both players going for knights and spearmen. Very similar army compositions, but, well, Jeanne has something up her sleeve. She's got herself. With all the abilities that she brings to the fight, can be dangerous. Oh, Louis. Right, he's just going to let him burn through, surprisingly enough. There's a couple of... Wait, what's going on? Louis, react. He is now. Knight's going to charge in. Palisades on fire. Here come the Kremlin Gremlins as well. So, he might... this is a problem for Louis, because if those knights dive in... I mean, he wants to take the fight, right? Uses the Holy Wrath ability. This is going to be a huge fight. Uses the Divine Restoration. Jeanne does fall. There's going to be a big fight there on the hill. The French should possibly do a lot of damage. There's a lot of spearmen. I've got to love the addition of the crossbows. I've got to say, Roos should clean this up. Puppypaw has to get out of here. He's got a decent number of spearmen, but those crossbows are going to be doing a lot more damage than what the French have at this point. And he's going to push that back, and he's going to push it back very convincingly. I'm not sure Puppypaw should have taken that fight. He's going to have to back away for now, and backing out, better late than never. Knight's going to charge in. Try and get as much value as he possibly can. Gets the charge deck. Does pick off another knight on the retreat. That's great work there by louemt. Going to snipe up maybe more arbaletier. Jeanne returns to the battlefield once again. Now with the reinforcements, this is not looking too terrible for Puppypaw. If he takes the fight now, could go well, especially with Jeanne in there. Now it's the Russians' time to back off. But again, reinforcements coming in. Good sniping of the knights though. You got to love it. And Jeanne falls once again. She's actually not that powerful in level 2, by the way. Can snipe her pretty quickly, and those crossbows are looking in good numbers there for the Rus, especially the spearmen. Makes it very difficult for cavalry to do any damage for the French. And he's going to keep pushing forward, getting a relic as well in the middle of the map, just to compound the issue. And Puppypaw was on the back foot. Took one bad fight, and that's what sometimes can happen in this matchup, by the way. Take one bad fight, things can snowball. But it won't be a killer snowball. Puppypaw will have some time to regroup, does have 6 extra villagers. And Louis will be happy with that scalp in the middle. He took that relic in the end, which should mean he gets 3 relics in the end. Well, that got a lot hot and sweaty very quickly. But again, we do expect that in the 2 town center play. It can be very quiet for the first 12, 13, 14 minutes. Typically by the 20-minute mark, though, there's certainly a lot of action happening. Going up on the north. Maybe we can just break through the palisades, get into the economy in the north. And Louis has been not necessarily passive, but he has been defending for a long time, right? He's been defending that southern territory. Now all of a sudden taking a good fight. He might be looking to be a bit more aggressive in the north. And you can see that strategy coming out with the cavalry. Capturing the sacred site in the middle, at least attempting to. Something Puppypaw might look to try and deny, heading right into the middle. This is where things like positioning of units becomes very key. Numidan. Oh, I keep saying Numidan. I'm not sure why. We did cast a game from Numidan recently, but Louis bringing his units to the north. And Puppypaw obliging, doing the same. And Boyar's fortitude, though, for the roost, will make those knights a little bit more tankier. I say a little bit, a lot of it tankier. Take a look at that. 25% increased health of the cavalry. Looking to get the sacred site in the east. Large army in the middle there for Puppypaw. Now take a look at the farming transition. It's something that typically happens for both civilizations at this sort of time. We can see it happening now for Puppypaw. The farming transition happened a little while ago there for Louis. Got started earlier, to be fair. Bringing his knight in play. Now, Louis has got a decent amount of stone in the bank. Could be looking to get a keep somewhere. Possibly in the east sacred site. It would make sense to. Trouble is, it doesn't have the area secured just yet. Trying to break through again in the north and might pull the army back there that Puppypaw has in the middle. Jeanne, finally, going to be securing that sacred site in the middle. Had a lot of chances to do so earlier. Never really got round to it. Now Jeanne just starting to pick up some of those relics. There's 1 in the bank so far, 1 more coming in. But louemt obviously got the rub of the green in that regard. It's got 3 already in the bank. But one sacred site for Jeanne will help in that deficit a little bit. Looking to break through on the west side. It's going to be the Imperial Age coming in there for louemt with the Spasskaya Tower. Puppypaw are going to do something very similar. Possibly with the... I'd be interested to see, actually. It could be the College of Artillery. It could potentially also be the Red Palace. Kind of curious to see what Puppypaw decides to choose here. He does have the food for it now. And it's going to be the Red Palace. Question is, where does he put it? It's going to probably put it to protect some farms, maybe? Where is he placing it? In the north? Yeah, he's going to place it in the north to protect the gold, right? It's actually kind of important to protect this area. And you can already see that, you know, louemt has been trying to pressurize. Has been poking and prodding. He's going to do it just now. He's going to focus on those villages. Puppypaw, he didn't keep his army in position, and that's going to be a massacre. Now, the Red Palace should go up, but he's going to lose a lot of villagers doing it. I can't really see the knights there in the end, but that's a lot of villagers going down. The knights have to back away for now. He lost quite a few. Goes up in the end. Oh, villagers though for louemt getting caught. This is the issue when you have cavalry on the field. It causes all sorts of problems. Takes out the hunting cabin. Nice back away in the middle. Villagers coming out. Spasskaya Tower in the middle of the map. Looking to get a wooden fortress rather to protect that stone. I think this is where keeps actually become quite critical on the map. Getting their static defense is going to be important, and as I say that, Puppypaw looking to extend those palisade walls right across the middle of the map. Gold here in the north, the west I should say, is being denied. About half of that gold vein still remaining. This is full. Similar sort of numbers there for Puppypaw. Oh, taking the fight there on top of the hill. Jeanne does use her Holy Wrath ability. Spearman taking the front line. Divine Restoration comes out. That's a lot of crossbowmen there for Louis. He should be fine. There's a lot of spearmen tanking against the knights that the Rus did have, but a couple of them still remain. Jeanne's still alive there with Jeanne. It's always a problem. As I said, that she does tumble. All that remains is arbaletier. They're not going to get as much more value now. Gonna have to try and kite as much as possible. Oh, Louis is not chasing. He's chasing with the spearmen. A bit slow to chase with those crossbows in the end. It will allow those arbaletier to back away. Maybe get some more value on those spearmen. Can try and micro that as much as possibly can. Elsewhere on the map. Well, in the middle. Spasskaya Tower just halting that progression there for Puppy. Yeah, and those arbaletier will go down. Just a matter of time and how much value you can get from it. The wooden fortress up. Well, that's not going to survive. I mean, actually it will, because there isn't much melee units here. Only 3 spearmen. Puppypaw needs to back away. Especially with the emplacements coming in. I mean, still getting good value here, I've got to say. Taking out all the spearmen in the end. And to be fair, the arbaletier might just about be able to escape. Well, no, he won't be able to escape, I don't think. Eventually be taken apart. In any case, on the east side, yep, the outpost, the wooden fortress, definitely doing its job. Got that sacred site now under the control of the Rus. Mangonel on the field for Louis. Definitely has a good bank of resources. Oh, might lose a Mangonel very cheaply though. Those spearmen will get on top of it. Does have a minimum attack range for the Mangonel. Although, will he survive? Cavalry charging in, which is not optimal against spearmen, but he wants to keep the Mangonel alive, and sometimes you've got to do what you got to do. Village coming out to repair. That's a clutch repair. I think he keeps it. Does he keep it? Oh, he just about loses it. That was a surprise. I was fully expecting that villager to keep it up, and one villager wasn't enough. Trying to get a keep on the east side now. We did say that's actually kind of a good spot to keep into control. Especially considering he has that sacred site. Now bear in mind, Jeanne has consecrated a lot of the buildings, so it does make that cost of food a lot less for these knights. And also gold, by the way. So it has got that upgrade that actually not only reduces the cost of food, but also the other resources too. Now the Imperial Age coming in, obviously Imperial Age upgrades coming in. Gonna get biology and the third armored, or ranged armor. We'll try and break through with elite horsemen to get some raiding value as much as possible. Puppypaw reacting with arbaletier, which isn't the most ideal unit to have in this. Trying to get a keep up. The keep will go up. Louis will have to try and find another spot to attack. Now, I've got to say, the way that the match is shaping up, it feels like It's going to come down to one big fight and then snowball from there. We'll have to see. It could also come down to who can raid the most. Engage against these spearmen, which is not... I mean, he's going to take the fight, but he's going to lose a lot of these horsemen. He might as well at this point, though. I mean, if he does clear up the army, which he will, he's going to have reinforcements to deal with. Oh, it's being pressurized on the east side. Jeanne is there as well, and there is something crazy, by the way, that we do sometimes see. It's mass rams for the Rus. Lightweight beams, increasing the battering ram attack speed by 20%, reducing their field construction time by 50%. So we might see some mass rams for the Rus. Now don't bear in mind their wood economy is incredibly strong. Actually, these units actually survived. Came down, and they're going to cause a lot of problems in the back of the base for puppypaw. The trouble for puppypaw, it doesn't have that mobility, right? Really teched in hard into the arbaletier, which is not necessarily a bad move, especially when you factor in gambesons in play. Really increasing that melee armor for these arbaletier. Going on the wood line for now. It's killed 24 villagers so far. Now, it might not seem like a lot of damage he's doing, but every villager he kills, it is an issue. Especially if it's a lot in a quick succession. Jeanne going to lead the charge against the horsemen. The Rus horsemen. They do back away for now. Trying to get a keep in the middle to secure that area, and he probably should be able to. Going to secure that sacred site in the middle. Jeanne might have other plans. She does head into the middle. The sacred site will be decapped and we'll get a keep there. Both players are reaching that 200 population spot. A bit of walling shenanigans just to try and keep that trade post. And the trade denied there, Louis. I like the play though, because it's important to think about trade in this stage of the game. Heading towards that 30-minute mark. Oh, loses a couple of horsemen on the west side. Securing up that middle there, Louis. The question is, how much gold does he have in the back? This is going to be expiring pretty soon. This is where trade starts to be creeping in the minds of the players, right? Oh, that's a lot of villagers having to be idled, and some will go down. He keeps on killing villagers here, Louis. And puppypaw, he's struggling with the army composition, right? He just doesn't have the mobility he needs, and there's the mark. Oh no, that's about timing to build this. Because if Louis spots that, I'm not sure if he did at the end. But anyway, we are getting to that position where actually trade is a must. Or is this gold still here up for grabs for both players, technically? Well, puppypaw, he's always chasing. And looks like trade is going to be coming online for Louis as well. Both players thinking about it, thinking about that gold income they need. Well, puppypaw looking to get boiling ore. Louis just throwing away a couple of units, but he's always keeping his opponent away from himself, so that's always a bonus. And the horsemen aren't the most. I mean, they're not the cheap units, but ultimately it's just food and wood, which he has an abundance of at the moment. But of course, you won't want to throw units for free ever. Only one market so far. Louis really committing to it. Going to get the third very soon, or fourth very soon actually. Starting the trading as well. Going to get 80 gold, which is not a bad trade route at all. The problem for Puppy though are these palisades, right? It just makes it very awkward for his trade to be established. He does have a gate, so the trade will walk through. But if Louis spots the trade and pressurizes that northern spot on the neutral trade market, it's an issue. And it's so important the fact that Louis did that early on in the game. Played it with the long game in mind, just in case he got there. And it looks like he was right to do so, because it is getting there. I would love to see him capture the sacred site in the middle, though. And even on the west side, because puppypaw are really struggling to get out onto the map. And it does feel like he's getting the sacred site in the middle in the end. Just one more remains. Looking to take the engagement. Oh, the arbaletier caught. Not only half of the army. Horsemen going to get us around. Get a lot of value on them. They do have gambesons, which certainly help. And Ram's coming out for the Rus as well. Going to try and break that down. Jeanne is joining the fight. Well, Louis just been patient. Going to lose the Rams, but doesn't want to engage just yet. Not with the upgrades coming in. melee damage on those knights, of which there are none. It's going to be great. Okay, so just clicking everything at this point, and why not? But I love the addition of Streltsy. That is a real big concern, I gotta say. Streltsy crossbowmen and spearmen, that is a very scary army. I gotta say, Rus do have some of the best late game compositions. You know, especially when you factor in they've got the rams coming out, right? He's got lightweight beams. Now, granted, I'm not sure if he gets the Wandering Towns. Not without the Spaskaya Tower. But in any case, he's got a great wood economy to supply those rams. Quite a those spearmen going to try and snipe those rams in particular. Look at those Streltsy. There's a decent amount of arbaletier, but the Streltsy mass up in good numbers with mangonels behind them. That could be a death ball of an army. I've got to say, I prefer louemt's army composition. But it will be interesting to see how the arbaletier fare up against this fight. That fight might be coming in pretty quickly. Both players really starting to max up on upgrades. Only one market though. It does mean that Louis will be scaling that trading economy a little bit better. Like both players are at 200 population. The food bank looking strong for Jeanne. But at this point, when resources almost feel like they're unlimited considering the bank of resources they have, although the walls won't go up on the west side, it makes it a bit tricky. It comes down to really who has the better units. And I gotta say, the Streltsy feels like they tipped the balance a little bit for the Rus. It remains to be seen. Well, puppypaw looking to secure the area, secure the trade, I think, more than anything. Louis. He's appreciating that position. Gonna get some gold here. Actually, this is a really nice bit of gold coming in. A nice gold injection. You see that 1400 gold coming in per minute versus the 259 for Puppy. And with 200 population space, it's actually all taken. It's kind of a problem situation for Puppy. Gonna try and repair this. Will he get the... I think yeah, it's gonna be... No, it will go down eventually, but it does allow the army to get in position. Villagers have to back away. There's a lot of spearmen. Horsemen dive on top of that. But it's mostly the Streltsy that Puppy's worried about. Streltsy need to get in range though for that to really work out. They do now. Fighting underneath the keep. Puppypaw won't be too bothered about taking the trade, especially because it's only spearmen. And you can see a very definite move there for Louis just to make sure the Streltsy numbers stay alive. He's starting to try and wall up in the middle. Walled up on the side, on the east side with the stone walls. That keep in the middle forces Puppypaw back. Does have a mangonel, but that's what he needs really, the cannons. He needs to make sure he keeps cannons alive and working. And he needs to take down the static defenses, focusing on the wooden fortress first and then probably the keep. Jeanne heading right to the front of that army. As I say that, she does back away now. The PVs are deployed for Puppypaw. They're standing the ground. They're trying to give up no more ground. They want the cannon to do its work. And they're going to be doing just that. The question is, how does Louis fight this? Got a large bank of resources. Might just take this head on. Has got a lot of mangonels, but there are a decent number of springalds. Well, actually, only two. Yeah, that's not enough springalds, by the way. That's going to be able to one-shot a mangonel, but there are three others. Takes the engagement. Puppypaw needs to be careful. Arbaletier, you need to back away. Streltsy in good numbers. Horseman tanking on the front line. Jeanne getting involved. She uses the Holy Wrath ability, but she does go down. The Streltsy absolutely mow her down. Loses a mangonel, especially with the cannon and the two springals. Two springals pop up there for the Rus and louemt, though. And the Streltsy getting great value. This is a problem for Puppypaw. He's going to lose that fight. And we talked about this earlier on. It felt like this match always heading to this position where one big fight could decide it. 3 rams, going to take out infrastructure, break down the palisades. Streltsy in huge numbers. That's going to be tough to deal with. No mangonels on the field here for Jeanne. Jeanne does pop out again, but she's going to lose her life pretty quickly. She could use the Holy Wrath ability. She does. Takes out a lot of HP on those Streltsy. But gets on the spread formation. She does die in the end. Of course, Streltsy, a great counter to her. She's going to hold on for now. Arbaletier trying to block off that choke point. He's doing great work for it now. Backed up with a cannon, backed up with springals. And Jeanne feels like she can push once again. Puppypaw not giving this up just yet. A good push there for Louis, but puppypaw holding strong. Let's just take a look at what's happening elsewhere on the map. Is that trade still working there out for puppypaw? I mean, he's only got 3 traders. That gold income's going to be hurting, right? I mean, this is a massive army, which once he loses, he can't replace. The same cannot be said for Louis. He's got 2,400 gold per minute. Factor in also the hunting cabins, passively generating gold. Factor in the high trade house, getting 243 gold per minute. Factor in the 3 relics and the 2 sacred sites. The gold situation here is so much better for Louis, and that will mean as the game prolongs, he's going to be in a much better spot, especially with the number of Streltsy he's got. If he loses Streltsy, he can replace them again. Horseman diving in there for Louis. Against the Spearman, he's trading badly, but it doesn't matter because it allows the Streltsy to do their work. Arbitrator have to back away. He's about to lose the keep, though. Cannon does take that keep down. It's on its last limbs, I think. I'm not sure that keep survives. It's on fire. There's no villagers repairing. And there it goes. And Jeanne and puppypaw looking to be a bit more aggressive, coming with 2 more rams. Trying to break down that middle fortification. Streltsys, that's a good number, though. Arbitrator trying to kite as much as they possibly can. The horsemen now, with the lack of meat shield, the spearmen aren't in position where they needed to be. It allowed the horsemen to dive on top of this Arbitrator. Arbitrator now have to back away. 4 or 5 rams there for the Jeanne d'Arc. And it's something that maybe that Louis is going to try and focus on now. Sending a couple of horsemen on the east side. That's not going unnoticed, at least not by me. Going to get some raiding value. Arbitrator trying to get as close as possible. Spearmen tanking as much as possible as well. Mangonel. That's a great work by the Mangonel. If he keeps Mangonel alive, that's going to be difficult for puppypaw to push. Has Spearman might try and dive on top of that. Horseman going to focus on the rams to try and push that away. Now, speaking of pushing away, there's Horseman pushing villagers away. He's getting a lot of kills here on that wood line. It's a great sacrifice those horsemen are making. Definitely worthwhile. He's struggling on wood though a little bit, Louis. I've got to say, he needs a bit more wood. Plenty of wood, gold rather, coming in. 3,000 gold. The trade is a little bit exposed now by the Arbitrator. They get on top of it. Now, puppypaw is now aware of the full extent of the problem. He recognizes the trade. He realizes he doesn't have all that much himself, but he did have the guild hall, by the way. And I think that guild hall just got ticketed in. 4,000 gold in the bank for puppypaw. This game is certainly not over. Not with that gold injection. Louis just falling back to that Spskaya tower for now. Trying to get a keep on that stone. Has been pushed back. All things considered overall, whilst actually some of the fights did look like they were working well for Louis. And he did push puppypaw back, but it was only temporary. Puppypaw is now starting to push back very heavily. I love the siege inclusion here. That's a lot of Springalds, guys. That's going to be difficult for Louis to deal with. Especially now with Jeanne at level 4. I think puppypaw has a momentum behind him. It doesn't have the trade up and running, but it's got the guild hall. Got 4,000 gold in the bank, and now if he does lose Arbitrator, he will be able to replace them. Jeanne diving right in, though. She might lose her life. Does lose the Holy Wrath ability while she can. Streltsy in good numbers. Fighting underneath the Spskaya tower. Not advised. Although there is a cannon working at it. Mangonel ready, waiting to fire. Having to back away now, puppypaw. Needs to be a bit more methodical. Might need a couple more cannons if he can. That's Spskaya tower holding firm for now. But I love the capture of the second sacred site. Every bit of gold really matters at this stage of the game. Gonna get a keep behind this as well. Making sure that that push has got some reinforcements behind it. Solidifying that push and making sure that he digs his heels in. On the east side though, Louis continuing to try and get that raiding in. He did a good job of it before. But with 115 villagers, puppypaw will be fine on the economy. I gotta say, whilst we did say it might just come down to one big fight, one thing I think this match might end up devolving into is to the population balance, right? Because you can have a lot of villagers, but ultimately it's the fight that wins the game. And puppypaw has an extra 15 villagers, which is meaning that there's obviously 15 less military on the field. Horseman diving in. I'm not sure how much value they'll get, but they'll get some value on the wood line. Now the big thing, this is a great movement by Louis, by the way. What he's forcing puppypaw to send units back home, leaves them thin on the ground in the middle, and this could be the big fight. Louis taking the fight in the middle at the great possible time. The keep doesn't go up, and this is a problem for puppypaw. Louis timing this perfectly, causing a distraction with the raids, forcing a lot of units to head back home. Units that don't have the movement speed, they don't have the mobility to get back into the fight in the middle, and Louis taking advantage of that completely. Huge number of Streltsy. There is a Magna that could deploy, goes on spread formation. There is a bit of a choke point on that palisade gate wall where it was. Roos not taking the bait. He's backing off for now. But the horseman did so much damage. It allowed Louis to push back forward, denies that keep in the end, and getting a bigger foothold in the game again, Louis, and does have a lot of stone in the bank. Could produce some more keeps. Speaking of stone, puppypaw, he's not struggling for stone himself. He's got almost 2,000 in the bank. That's a lot of springles. The concern for Louis is that siege is an issue. Puppypaw will be happy to defend that mangonel. We'd love to see another cannon or two, but Puppypaw is at full maximum population. He's taking the fight here. Spearman brace against the horseman. Jeanne involved with the arbaletier behind, and mangonel too. The decent number of springles going to come down to springle micro, but it does feel like Louis will lose that springle battle. He's got to, right? The number's just so strong. Loses the mass on the front line. Michel goes down, but take a look at the Streltsy now on the field. Huge numbers of them. They're going to win everything else. Takes out the mangonel. Arbaletier are not in good enough numbers. This could be the big fight that we're expecting to take, and could decide the fight. Could decide the game. Again, they keep trying to go up in the middle. I don't think that goes up there for Puppypaw. There are just too many Streltsy. 2 mangonels getting involved now, but will they get in time? I'm not so sure. It does deploy now. Oh, that's a good shot there on the Streltsy. A lot of them still stay alive. Oh, they're all clumping together. That's not what he wants. A massacre on the Streltsy. Those 2 mangonels getting so much value. Horseman going to come in on the east side. Going to try and dive on those mangonels. Will he be able to keep them alive? Arbaletier going to try and tank them as much as possible. But it's not the ideal unit to go against the horseman. Horseman dive in. Takes out 1 mangonel. Takes out 2. All those villagers go down. The keep goes down as well. I'm not sure Puppypaw deleted that in time. Even if he did, he's losing the map control in the middle. 2 mangonels and a royal cannon still remain there for Puppypaw. All of a sudden, though, louemt's bank of resources, I gotta say, it's not looking all that healthy. It feels like Puppypaw could do this for another hour. He's heading forward once again, gonna get another keep. It has a lot of infrastructure, right? And he's doing more. He recognizes that he's got a large bank of resources. And it could come down to a situation where he just produces units, bangs his head against the wall, goes against his army, his opponent's army, and just keeps replacing that army that he's losing. And tries to push his way forward. But you can see, definitely on that gold, looking to get that gold when he needs it. And what that actually allows, by the way, it does mean he does need less economy units that he can free up into military. Take a look at the 100 units. I think he's killing villagers. Because we just saw a dropping of unit. Yeah, I think he's killing villagers. He's got 100 so far. But that's a definite move here. That's a smart move. Because it does mean he's got 75 military. This could be a big fight. There's a lot of rams there for Louis. He's trying to push hard with taking the infrastructure out, but I don't think he has the military to protect it. And I think Puppypaw has enough to deal with this. A lot of melee units. Spearmen will take those down. That might be a bit of an overcommitment there for Louis. Yeah, he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough army. He might have to kill off some villagers. That's looking ominous. Puppypaw with double the army. Louis, he's got to recognize this. He's got to realize that he needs to kill some villagers, and Louis is under pressure because that's a lot of army coming forward soon for Puppy. And Puppypaw, again, deleting villagers. You can tell on the count of villagers. 94 at the moment. There's not been any raiding happening. There's a definite move into self-destructing some villagers for sure. Allowing the population to build up the army. And if that's what wins the game for him, it's a total clutch play. Getting the safe site in the middle with Jeanne with the blast cannon. Louis, though, with the springles and the rams. Yeah, I'm not so sure about the springles addition, by the way. Because when you're going mass rams, you're not really worried about... I mean, I guess he's worried about the mangonels, right? But I gotta say, in terms of actual raw numbers of units, therefore, Louis, it's not looking good. 47. It does have 37 population taken up by siege. It's going to kill some villagers on the east side, but you know what? I feel like all of a sudden, this is actually doing Puppypaw a favor. Because Puppypaw is pumping out more units. Those units are joining the middle of the fight. And they're going to be pushing in the middle soon. This is an awkward situation for Louis. He's probably feeling a bit good about himself by killing these villagers. But I think this might actually be doing him more harm than good. Springles taking the engagement. That's a lot of Springles there by Louis. So should win the siege battle. But the question is whether the rams will do enough damage before they get taken out. Mangonel's deployed. They're hiding behind the keep, but they will go down to the mass springalds. This is a good fight for Louis in many ways, but there's a lot of spearmen taking out those horsemen. That's not good enough meat shield. Spearmen diving on top of the Streltsy, fighting underneath the keep. Arbitrary in good numbers as well. louemt might be losing everything. Jeanne focusing on the rams, it seems. The keeper will go down there for puppypaw. Just too many rams, but the army goes down there for Louis. He is struggling, doesn't have the army numbers, and whilst he takes the keep, I'm not sure if he's got enough to replenish that. Take a look at the food bank. He's only got 500 in the bank. That's not going to be enough. All of a sudden, Holy Wrath ability comes out for Jeanne. She backs away, uses the Divine Restoration on those Arbaletria on the retreat, and puppypaw, whilst he does lose the keep, take a look at the army. All he needs to do is just deal with the rams, and that push won't be sustainable. Louis having to back away and take a look at 109 military versus 34. Losing those villagers actually for puppypaw was a blessing in disguise. The concern for Louis is he's still stuck on 116 villages because he kind of needs to as well. Don't forget, he needs that food income. He is caught between a rock and a hard place. He needs the villagers for food, but he needs that population space for army. What does he prioritize? I tell you what puppypaw's prioritize is definitely military. He's got a huge bank of resources. 3 mangonels. Jeanne going to try and jump on top of that. Maybe using the Holy Wrath ability on them. He does, and he's not going to take out a mangonel with that. Jeanne will lose her life most likely on the retreat, but take a look at this Arbaletria pushing forward. Has 2 to 3 rams that should focus on the keep. Streltsy going to try and tank as much as possible. Spearman diving on top of that. Jeanne, where did she go? She probably died. Who knows? I think she's alive somewhere. She's hiding. She's putting a distraction on the field. That's a massive Arbaletria with Gambesons. It's so strong. Even horsemen might not be able to deal with it. The keep might be going down soon. Although Louis should be able to hold on for now. Trade route could be next if this does fall this position. Decent number of Streltsy, decent number of horsemen. Mass Arbaletria. I'm not sure how this is happening. Like, the Arbaletria are strong with the Gambesons for sure. Somehow those horsemen do go down. Mangonel deploys, but take a look at the micro there for puppypaw. He's constantly moving out of the fire, and that's what's winning the fight for him. Again, Mangonel deploys. It's just one Mangonel ultimately, and it's not getting the value he wanted. Great micro there by puppypaw, and he's going to take out the Mangonel now. Does have the incendiary arrows. He should take it out one more. He does. All the repairs come out, but it isn't enough. Villagers have to garrison back inside the keep, and that's just mass numbers there for puppypaw. 108 military to 25. This is snowballing pretty heavily. Louis should be losing this position, and where does he go from there? The keep will be going down soon. Boiling oil is in. Well, actually, villagers come out to repair. Doesn't have any rams there anymore, puppy. Does have the cannon down the back. Arbitrary needs to just tank and hold on for the cannon to allow it to take down that keep, and trade taken out as well. And this is a problematic situation. The Springle's not getting close enough to that cannon to do the damage it needs to do. And this massive army is just a massive death wall. Even if it's counted, the sheer number of Arbaletria should be able to hold on. Horsemen diving in on the mangonels. If the siege go down, I think Louis goes down. That keep on its last limbs. It's on fire. And I think with that keep going down, that might be the GG. Louis tried to hold on for the best part of 40, 50 minutes. But the massive Arbaletria with Jeanne d'Arc proving a bit too much, I think. The keep does go down. And now puppypaw, playing it slow and methodically, is not diving in with the Arbaletria. It's just making sure it keeps the map control in this area. Nothing else happening on the other side of the map at all. Everything focused on the southern area. And 101 military to 34. This is looking like an uphill battle. He's fighting uphill, Louis. Takes out a lot of the Arbaletria with the mangonels. But I'm not so sure it's going to be enough. Does get another mangonel shot. Oh, puppypaw's got to be careful. He's got to be careful because they're all clumped together. No scattered formation on the Arbaletria. Trying to get as many of them down as possible. He's going to go right into the mangonels. He's going to use the minimum distance for the mangonel to fire as a weakness against them. Arbaletria get right on top of it. Fighting against the Streltsy. He's going to take out the mangonels first, and then the Streltsy, you feel... This is bad. This is bad for Louis. If he loses the mangonel, you feel like this is one comeback mechanic. The Arbaletria numbers are starting to dwindle once again. Louis, he's going to hold. He's going to get forward. Keep here. Puppypaw. Louis trying to get a keeper of his own, but that won't happen with the cannon involved. And somehow, Louis does still hold. Puppypaw might need to delete that keep. He does. He backs away for now. Louis holding once again. The game's not over. It looked like it for a while, but Louis is backing into it. 39 minutes to 58. Puppypaw losing a bit too much, and could we see a bit of a swing around? The good thing for Puppypaw has got such a strong bank of resources. That's the key bit of detail. Jeanne returns back to the field, looking to jump on those the Streltsy once again. A crazy back and forth game of Age of Empires. And he does dive on it with the horseman. Keep does go up there for Louis, solidifying that position once again. And puppypaw must be thinking, what does he do to have to win this fight, to win this game? The traders continue. Oh, but the Streltsy, they're backing off into a corner. That's a lot of traders that could go down to the Arbalatrier, but if he does focus on the traders, it allows the Streltsy to get good damage output. Mangonel deploys once again. 2 Mangonels there. Oh, that's going to be big shots there. Arbalatrier, you have to get out of there, puppy. He does. And he resets. Can I capture the Sacred Site on the east side? Can I actually activate the Sacred Site timer, would you believe? Of all things to be doing at this time. Well, it's Jeanne. That's Jeanne for you. But I gotta say, Louis is not out of the woods here with only a small bank of resources, completely outnumbered in terms of military. It's the siege that's working for him, but the trouble about siege is when you start losing a couple of them, it really hurts because, of course, a lot of damage output coming in a single unit. You lose that single unit, takes out a lot of damage output capabilities. Jeanne might be sniped here, but she's doing a lot of work. She uses Divine Restoration, making those Man-at-Arms stay alive for a lot longer, losing the Holy Wrath ability on the Streltsy as well. On the back of this, a lot of Springolds. Mangonels will go down. That's the massive damage output we're talking about. Jeanne brings out some champions, uses the Holy Wrath ability once again. They keep under fire. Does have a Mangonel on the back line of his own. Puppypaw. The Arbalatrier looks to be a staple unit for Jeanne. And she's holding on our front lines herself. With a couple of brave horsemen. Again, horsemen being trickled in by Louis, down to 22 military versus 74. Mangonel, 2 Mangonels there for Puppy. The keep still alive for Louis. And here comes some rams. Villagers coming forward as well. And if he can keep that siege alive here, Puppy, he'll be fine. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Louis taps out. He knows he's down and out. Didn't have the resource bank to push this back. And holy moly, a great game of Age of Empires 4. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. If you watched it at this point, you definitely liked it. So come on. Take care and see you next time.